KoitCast.
Hi Sev, welcome to KoitCast.
Hello, Koit, and hello, everyone who's watching and listening. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
And thank you ever so much for coming. You came highly recommended to me by a number of people, and I said this to you just offline. You were initially referred to me by Katie Page, and I mentioned at that stage you had an ace name. And then ever since then, loads of people have told me, oh, you've got to get Sev on. So first off, I want to say it's ace to be recommended by all those people, but two, your name. It sounded very Star Wars-y to me, and I actually said that to Katie at the time without then knowing about you and what's on your page where it has that very thing. So could you tell me about that Star Wars link?
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Istanbul, Turkey, and my full name is Sever, Sever Tok. But I came to America when I was a little girl, and I started first grade not knowing English. And it's very hard for Americans to pronounce Sever, which means to love. So I go by Sev, which also means to love. And my last name, Tok, means full. So Sev
Oh,
Tok,
nice.
that's what I go by. Okay. Uh, Many years ago, my best friend was dating a writer, and he got a job writing a short story for Star Wars. And he said to me, Sev Tok, I like your name. I'm going to name a planet after you. And I thought he was kidding. But the story came out, and there I was, the Sev Tok star system and planet with two moons. And recently, well, not recently, maybe about a year ago, I was just sitting around and I got a whole bunch of texts and emails from people who said that they just heard my name on Andor. And Andor is a very, do you know Andor?
I
It's
do.
a
I watched it.
spin-off of Star, yeah, so my name's mentioned in there too.
Do you know what I thought it was at the time? And then I sort of like glossed over it, and I pretty much didn't tell Tiff about it because we were both watching it together. And I was like thinking, did they say that?
Yes, so I would like to thank Tom Bowling, who's the author, because I live forever now in the Star Wars galactic system. It's a great gift.
It is. I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and it's great to have that link and then talk to somebody about it. So well played to you for having an ace name.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's jump into your life. There's lots to go through. I said to you offline before we started that actually your site and your life in itself is jam-packed with interesting things, and I want to get into as many of those as possible. But I think a prudent place to start would be the beginning. So what would be your introduction to the paranormal world?
My personal introduction?
Yes, correct.
Oh, that started at a very, very, very young age. I can't even remember, excuse me, I can't remember a moment where I wasn't having some kind of paranormal, supernatural, ET related event. It's just constant from the first memories I ever have. The ET contact started, well, that I can consciously remember, started at age 10, and it continued for a couple of years. I've had a lot of ET contact, and I like to talk about the ones that I can consciously remember. I
Sure.
have been regressed, and I'll talk about that if you want. I don't talk about that very much because I don't understand what regression is. And so I prefer to stick with my conscious memories of my ET contact. I'm not dissing regression at all because it's a very powerful tool and it could work wonders. I just don't know what it is. So, uh, what I'm going to tell you are my conscious memories. So, starting from the age 10, I would find myself outside at night. I would go to sleep and then I would find myself outside. And this is when I was living in the DC suburbs. I grew up in the Washington, DC suburbs. And there would be a flying saucer coming. And this happened so many times between the age of 10 and 12 that I lost count. It was a big flying saucer, and it would come from a different direction each time, and it would come and hover right over my head, and it was so big that it just blocked out the sky. And I was so happy. I was like, yay, 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 he's back because he felt like a brother to me, like my cosmic brother. And the ship would land the door would open, stairs would descend, and he would walk down and he would meet me on the grass. And he looked more human than non-human. Young, 20s, 30s, dark hair, dark outfit, whether it was one piece or two piece, I don't know. And the only thing I noticed about him that was a little different was that the very tip of his ear was just like slightly elongated. And I was not into Star Trek at the time, so I was not under the influence of any of that. And he would just be checking up on me, making sure I was okay. And then when it was over, ding, that's how I describe it. I would find myself plopped back in my bedroom. It's like I'm dropped into 3D reality, fully alert. There's no grogginess, there's no sleepiness. My eyes just open and ding, I'm back in my bedroom. And I would be really confused because being in my bedroom didn't feel real. Being with him felt real. And at the age of 10, this was like really messing with my mind. So I would just tell myself, just forget about the whole thing. You have to get dressed and you have to go to fifth grade.
Hmm.
And that's how I would go to school, having this incredible experience that I couldn't say anything about to anybody. And I would just try to act normal. And I was trying to act normal for decades. Now, I could have said something to my parents because they were complete believers. They were very open-minded, but I never did. I never said anything until a few years ago, really. I came out in
What
my
did you think?
book.
What did you think stopped you from saying stuff to your friends or whatever? Was it an innate need to keep it a secret, or something else?
Well, to my friends, it was pretty obvious I didn't want to be made fun of. And that still happens. The stigma is still harsh, despite all of this being in the traditional news and traditional media. Experiencers still experience heavy stigma and they still like to keep their mouths closed. They might maybe tell their story on a podcast where their face isn't shown and maybe their name isn't real, but it's very hard because I'm an experiencer advocate. I help experiencers around the world. I encourage experiencers to contact me and I can help you out because there's a lot to process there and there's also a lot to learn. And I just forgot your question because we went off
No, that's
on a
okay.
tangent.
It was how did you know not to say anything? And obviously you've
Okay,
said from the
yes, the
stigma side of
stigma.
things. But
Yeah.
I
But
just
to my
wonder. Go on, you carry on.
but why I didn't say anything to my parents, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. To this day, I don't know.
It's
Mm-mm.
weird, that isn't it?
Yes, there's lots of weird things about this.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's and I've come across this with many people I've spoken to. When there's a UFO event or an alien event of some variety, it's almost put away in a box and forgotten about it, even though it's an amazing thing that you want to talk about. You'd be like, oh, did you know? But you can't, and there's a block there. Do you think it's a block or something else?
It's a lot of things. So I do believe that some of our memories are blocked, but it's mostly the social stigma. It's mostly society.
Okay,
And
that's
that's
fair
why
enough.
I came out with my book, You Have the Right to Talk to Aliens, after decades and decades of hiding. And that's a story too, as to how I came out. So my initial conscious memories of ET contact from 10 to 12. So it continued until I was 12, and that's when I had the last meeting with my cosmic space brother. And this meeting was a little different because this time I was with a group of other kids, and I had never been with other kids before. And we were all about the same height, so I assumed we were about the same age. And we just watched the ship fly away, and I was just overcome with sadness because I knew I wasn't going to see him again. And then that's when I heard in my head, it's time to get to work. You have work to do. Now, at 12 years old, I had no idea what that meant. Now, I think I'm beginning to understand what that work might be. So I kept that quiet for decades. And the ET contact would just come in and out and in and out. It really flared up it really flared up around 2012, 2013 when it really flared up. I left my second marriage and I was living alone, and the ET contact just came on full blast. I was shown a hybrid baby. Well, there were many things that happened. I came in contact with the Greys. I also came in contact with the Greys in Roswell. My partner was with me at the time. And so that was a shared experience. And then here, when I moved here to the Inner Banks of North Carolina in 2017, where I met the Greys on 2 nights, and they burned 2 red X marks into my tush right here.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on screen, that very
Oh,
image
okay,
now,
thank
so that
you.
will help.
Yeah. And that started, oh, that started me to spin big time, big time. And I realized I needed help. And uh, I reached out to Kathleen Martin. Kathleen Martin is the niece of Betty and Barney Hill, world-renowned UFO researcher, TV commentator. And she helped me tremendously. She was very generous. And we formed a very nice friendship. And she's my mentor and a dear friend. And talking to her really validated everything that's been happening to me. But when I shared with her my years of ET contact, I also shared with her a fear that I had of the government coming after me, because that's what we hear. The government's going to come
Hmm.
after you. The men in black are coming. And I asked her if that was true. And she said, yes, that is true. And at the time, this was about 8 years ago, she said, it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it does happen. Although we have realized there's an uptick in this, there's more harassment of experiencers now. It's kind of like going back to how it used to be, which is interesting. And I, after the talk, I really didn't know what I was going to do with myself. And I just told myself, okay, I don't have to come out. I don't have to write a book. I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to process this. Whatever I'm going to do next is just going to happen to me organically. Well, that very night, I had my first MILAB, conscious memory of a MILAB, military abduction.
Oh, wow.
And I've had 5 or 6 of those. So that was the very thing I was afraid of was the very thing that I experienced that night.
Which then
And
begs the question, did you bring that about or because you were worried about it? Do you know what I mean? It's the fear that brings
maybe,
around that.
yeah, or maybe I was already having it and wasn't aware of
Oh,
it.
yeah, good
I
point.
know there's lots of things I'm not consciously aware of. So my conscious memories of MILAD, military abductions, I don't talk about them very much. They're actually harder for me to process than my ET contact because I've never heard anyone say, "Oh, I had a wonderful MILAB experience. I'll do it again." Never heard that. It's either neutral or it's absolutely horrible. And I've had both.
Interesting. Now, I want to get into that, but I'm going to put that slightly back in our conversation if that's okay with you. I'd like to go back to the period where you're 10 to 12 and you're being aboard the UFO of your space brother, as you call him. A, how did he seem familiar? Does that suggest that you're of that species or whatever he is?
Yeah, okay, that's a touchy subject for me.
Okay.
Uh, yes, it felt familiar that I had known him before. I cannot say with confidence that I'm a hybrid. I can't say with confidence that I'm an ET visiting from somewhere. I can't say anything like that. I know people do, and I don't judge anyone for saying that. I just can't say that. That's something I'm still processing. What really is my connection to this being, and how long has it been going on? I believe that it's been happening for a long time. I have not seen that same being again since I was 12. And so I've come in contact with the grays, with that being, with these light beings. And I also came in contact with this astral men in black that was standing at the edge of my bed one night, which I think might be related to Milab.
Dylan Millab, yeah. So
Mhm.
this chap that was talking to you between 10 and 12, what was the purpose? Have you thought about it and pondered it, or did you have an answer at the time? Are they training you? Is it a school? What was going on, do you think?
Yeah. Well, he was checking up on me to make sure I was okay. Why? Why was he checking up on me to make sure I was okay? And then the very last message was, you have a job to do. So that leads me to believe that uh, I was given a job, or I was agreed to do some kind of job, and he was making sure that I was okay so I could do it. What is that job? I'm thinking it's to do what I'm doing right now with you, to talk
Hmm.
about it and to let the public know that this is real, that we are being visited by ETs. Millions of us, if not billions of us, definitely millions of us are being visited. But the nature of the visitations have changed over the years too.
So it's all about raising awareness in the wider sphere through
Yeah.
personal interventions or interactions.
Yes. And it's not the easiest thing to do. Even though there's a lot of interest in this, like I said, there's still social stigma when it comes to experiencers. Uh, some people have thought that I'm out speaking because I want the publicity and I want to make the money, which just makes me laugh. But there's a lot of negativity associated with this too. It's not all easy and pleasant. I do not know a single ufologist that has not been harassed or threatened. Not one. So
No,
it
and I
happens.
agree with you on that. And obviously, like you say, the stigma associated with your name going forward, that could be, well, you tell me what it's like. Obviously, with people constantly having a go at you, or saying you're a liar, or this, that, and the other.
Yeah, no one's ever come to my face and said anything. There have been a few comments on my YouTube channel, maybe, or when I do other interviews, but it's not that much. It's just very, very
Good.
little. And I do respond. I just thank them for watching. Thank you for watching. If you feel like that, okay, that's okay. If you think I'm lying, that's okay. I know I'm not, but if you think you are, there's nothing I can do about it. Thank you for watching and listening to what you think are my lies.
And that's the correct answer. Because whatever, you can't take on the world's negativity,
Yeah.
can you? Completely.
I don't engage in a back and forth with anybody about the validity of what I'm saying. I don't do that.
Good, because there's no need, isn't it? I always,
Yeah.
it's from what I gather again from all my conversations, is everything seems to be paranormal related is a personal experience, and you'll never know about this person's experience because you've not lived their life. It's only when these things happen to you then you'll understand and appreciate.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And yes, and that goes along with all paranormal experiences, supernatural experiences, all of it. It's very hard to describe. But once you have one of the, have you ever had one? Are you an have you seen a UFO or an ET?
Not that I know of. It's a touchy
Okay.
subject with me because not touchy. I would say I'm probably on the scaredy cat end of things, where I wouldn't really want to see one in consciously here. It would scare me. However, if it was
Yeah.
on TV and I could see it and get used to it for a bit, then I'd be fine. But I would not like that. I'm taken. There's an alien. I think it would destroy me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm judging myself too harshly. But
No,
I
I can
think it would worry me.
understand that.
So if it
Yeah.
does happen to me, I'm glad that it's not conscious. Put it that way.
Okay. You can also have a pleasant experience because it's all about your perspective. And that's something that I've learned and something that I help AT contactees with. If there's a shift in perspective where you could just step back a little bit and focus on what the ETs told you or what the ET showed you, you'll see that they're giving us messages to help humanity. And the messages tend to fall in five basic categories that I've discovered from my research. And this is all to help the individual. And then through the individual, the collective shall change.
And I like the message. It's just that visceral fear of there's an alien grey, there's those big eyes. Whoa, it would be that for me.
Yeah.
And I'm
But
sure
you
I'm
can,
not alone there, but
oh, absolutely not. That was my life for most of my life. I was so afraid of the grays. For some reason, I wasn't afraid of the other beings, but I was really afraid of the grays. And then one evening, I was shown a baby in a tube, and there were three grays standing behind me, tall, medium, and short. I actually have a picture of it in my book that I drew. And that's when I learned that there are three sizes of grays: tall, medium, and short. Also, in one of my mid-lab experiences, I was shown a very tall gray, and I was told that this is the original gray. Then that one was taken out of the room, and then a shorter one was brought in, and I was told is these mid-lab experiences. There's always these young men standing next to me talking to me, and he told me the shorter one is a hybrid of the original one. And then that one was taken out, and then the little tiny gray was brought in. I was told that's the hybrid of the original. And with each one, there's a drop in sentience. So it felt like the tiniest, littlest one was more robotic, and the tallest one was very conscious and aware and sentient.
so that's interesting because I've not obviously, but again, across my conversations and other podcasts and stuff I've watched and listened to, it's been a common experience that, or common thought, that the smaller grey was indeed some measure of drone. But from what you're saying, it is a being, but it's just dumber, should we say, less
Well,
aware.
I'm not sure how much sentience the smallest one has. I'm not sure because it did feel robotic, and those are the sample takers, the
Hmm.
ones that do the medical procedures and such. So this was the picture I drew. I don't know if you can see it,
Yeah, it's coming
of the
through.
baby in a tube. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at this baby, its eyes were open and it's floating in this liquid. And it was the bluest eyes I've ever seen in my life. But I didn't feel anything for it. I was very confused as to why I was staring at this baby and why there were grays behind me. I didn't feel a connection to this baby at all. But
Was
I
it
think I
suggested
had a
that it was yours?
well, why would I be looking at it if
Well, exactly.
I wasn't somehow related to it? But I do not go around saying I'm a hybrid baby mother either.
Sure, sure.
I feel like
Because you don't know, do
these
you?
things are right. I don't know.
Hmm. But isn't it weird that that whole thing? Let's just say, right, that that was an offspring of yours, a potential offspring of yours. It's been taken for use in some sort of agenda. Does that piss you off? Does that annoy you? Does it? Are you blasé to it? What do you feel?
No, it doesn't piss me off. I I have dealt with many experiencers, men and women, but let's just talk about the women who are part of the hybridization program, and they are traumatized. They feel like they've been abused and possibly raped, and then the baby's taken away, and they're traumatized over that, and they have these horrible, horrible feelings about what happened. Once we start to talk about it and they start to realize that this is something that they agreed to do and for the betterment of mankind or the betterment of um, our society, betterment of the grays and betterment of the humans. Once they see it like that, then they can lose a lot of the victimization because the biggest issue with experiencers is feeling that they're victimized. So I help them realize, well, let's look at it from another perspective, from one of where you're not victimized, where this is a chosen experience for you because you're to learn something from this, and what are you to learn? And once they start to see it that way, they incorporate the knowledge that they were given, and it changes their life for the better.
When you say chosen experience, do you mean as in a spiritually path chosen experience, or do you mean an interaction with the alien greys chosen experience?
Oh, we could talk about our higher selves here, and it
Hmm.
could very well be that our higher selves have chosen this experience to the betterment of this lower self.
Okay, so that we above, as in, let's just say our higher self up here, knows there would be a great outcome by doing this.
Yes.
Interesting, interesting. And the permission side of things, right? Because obviously that's a permission we give ourselves there, technically.
Yes.
What about the permission between, let's just call, say, the alien Greys for now, and say you? Had you given conscious permission to them to take you?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yes. I
Oh,
do
wow.
believe. That's why I rarely use the word abduction, because abduction implies victimization. And
Yes.
I do not believe experiencers are victims of what they encountered. I think it is a choice we all made, but if it's difficult to believe that we made that choice,
Hmm.
especially if you're resonating with a lot of fear about it. And that's why I love being an experiencer advocate for that reason, because I know how much ET contact can mess up your life. Yes, I heard a really well-known podcaster recently talking, and he said, how can these people who come face to face with an ET all of a sudden the next day just get up and go to work? Like, how can you do that? And I was screaming at my computer. I'm like, that's what we do.
Yeah,
That
because
is
you have to.
exactly
Yeah,
what
exactly.
we
Yeah.
do. Yes. And that is what makes it so difficult. So we think we're compartmentalizing it, but we're not, because we're denying something that is very important to our authentic nature. We're not living our authenticity. And it's just, it affects you in every area of your life. You can't just put it here and close it and lock it. That fear, that worry, that confusion, it permeates into every aspect of your life, into your relationships, into your friendships with your family, into your careers. It's there. It just permeates everywhere. That's why it's really important, if you're an ET contactee and you need some help, to reach out to somebody, process it, get the help. So you'll start to see that the other areas of your life start to smooth out too, as you smooth that out.
Because you're dealing with it essentially. It's a therapy, isn't it? By talking about it, etc.
Yes. Hmm.
So a question for you then, right? Obviously, it's 10 o'clock your time or 10:30 now your time.
Yeah.
Prior to getting on this conversation with me, had a flash of an image of an alien crossed your mind? Is it, are we talking how many times a day does this stuff enter your consciousness?
Oh, 24/7 maybe. I
Oh,
mean,
is
it's
it? Wow.
constant.
Mm.
Like it's the way it's part of my life. I cannot I cannot be without knowing that I have some kind of attachment to ETs, a variety of them, as we all do. I'm not the only one. There are millions of us having ET contact. Many of us don't know it because it happens in that dreamlike state, which is a real experience.
Can I ask you another question, right? We haven't touched on it yet, but I know there's the mediumship side of you. Can you tell if you're speaking to a person if they have been or if they are an experiencer? Do you have that ability to hear or see or know?
Often I can.
And what
Yes.
do you do with that information? Are you just locked up in there and keeping it to yourself, or do you tell them?
Well, if they come to me for a session, I do sole purpose sessions and I also do ET contact sessions. If they come to me for a session, I'll tell them everything that's coming through. But if I just meet you somewhere,
Mm.
I'm not going to say anything.
Can I ask you a stat question then? I know this might be hard to answer, but let's just say you went down the supermarket last week and you saw 50 people. How many of those 50 would you say, oh, I know that person's an experiencer? I know that one is. Do you get that granular with it?
I really can't answer that question.
No,
It's
that's fair.
like that's like a statistical question, and it could be zero or
Hmm.
it could be 10. So
Yeah, I get it. It's a hard one to answer, but I just wondered if it was like a common thread. Every week you go down the supermarket, you see 100 people, there might be three or four of them might be experiencers, that sort of
Well,
thing.
am I even looking at the people in the grocery market? Sometimes you just go in and out and you're not even looking. Also, because of what I do for a living, I do sole purpose sessions for a living, so I'm constantly talking with people. And sometimes when I'm done, sometimes when I go out, I don't want to really engage with people on that level. I kind of need a break.
Sure.
I don't go around reading people because that's unethical. I would never read someone unless they gave me permission to. But sometimes you can just tell that there's something unusual about a person just from the energy that they're emitting, or maybe it's just the way they're talking, or a lot of times you can just look in their eyes and you can see it. There's like uh, some kind of advanced awareness there that you can feel.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Hmm.
And we'll definitely touch on that later when we enter the mediumship. Sorry, I took us off track there, but when these questions come to mind, I have to ask them. Okay, so I want to focus on the alien grey side of things, just to see if I can get answers to these questions I've written down. So,
Okay.
who do you think the alien greys are, and do they have an agenda that you're aware of? What do they want?
Okay. Uh, from my personal experience, when I was in Roswell, I was given information about the hybridization program. So I can answer that from that perspective.
Sure.
And that I was told that their race was dying out because they lost their ability to be empathetic and sympathetic. And so they've decided, I guess an agreement was made. I don't know who or what made the agreement, that they would hybridize with human beings. And for the most part, they're picking human beings that are very loving and have higher than normal psychic abilities. And these embryos that they're making, most of them are what we would call frozen. There's actually billions of them. And they said that if we annihilate ourselves, if humans annihilate ourselves on Earth, that these embryos would be brought here to reseed the Earth. And I was told we are on the path of annihilating ourselves. It's not too late. We can turn around, but we're on the path.
Hmm. It seems like we have been for quite some time, ever since the nuclear age, I suppose.
Mhm.
So the plan of theirs would be to use some of us to help them, and then they've got this backup plan for humanity if we destroy ourselves. So it's a win-win, really. Is that what it is?
That's how it was explained to me. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so that also answers the why are they interacting. But the
There
question,
could be other reasons too. I'm sorry, Coit. There could
no,
be
it's
other
okay.
reasons too, but I'm only speaking to the reason that they gave me.
No, that's fair. I mean, who's to
Okay.
say that isn't the answer? I mean, that sounds right to me. And again, from a lot of the other people I've spoken to or watched and heard their stuff, it seems to be that avenue. I haven't heard the reseeding us bit before, so I like that.
Oh,
I like that we get something out of it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And these beings that they're creating are very loving, highly intelligent, and extremely psychic. So they're not, because I was also told that there was a worry in the galactic system. They have billions of these embryos. What if a negative group of beings got a hold of these embryos and turned them into killing machines? And I was told you can't. They're too loving. Like they would be the worst soldiers in the world or in the galaxy.
I like that. A question that I always ask, and I'm never sure I get the answer, or people don't know the answer to every question. But a question I have is, if aliens know that we as a species are very emotional, we're very fearful and stuff, why do they present themselves to us in such a way that drives that fear? As in what some people would call abduction, obviously you call it experience. It puts the colloquial term shits up people. So why do they do that? Why are they like suddenly over you in bed with their big eyes and scaring you? Isn't
Hmm.
there a better way to approach us, knowing that we react in fear?
Okay, that's a good question. Sometimes they do change the way they look. I've heard from experiencers who would say when I was a little kid, there'd be these beings that would come into my room, but they'd either look like a doll or they would look like a monkey or they would look like a clown or so they do that. Do you know Mike Clelland, the owl guy?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
spoken to him. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, he's great. Uh, and so there's also a belief that maybe they mask themselves, excuse me, as giant owls, maybe some other animals as well. So that does happen. We would like to think that happens on our behalf. But for the ones where the actual gray is literally standing right over your face,
Yeah.
yeah, I do not know why they don't mask themselves. I could throw out some ideas. Maybe that person has seen that being so many times that they're not consciously aware of it. And it's that one time where ding, it finally hits. And to them, they think it's the first time, but they've seen this being maybe for millennia or for decades. That could be an issue. Another thing is uh, maybe that shock is necessary. So that my shock of the two red X's on my tush, that was necessary because they had been giving me so many signs that they were around, and I would just laugh them all off. This one I could not ignore. And so I joke around that the two grays are talking to each other and like, how the hell are we going to get her attention? We try everything. I've had strange geometric marks on my skin. I had a scoop mark. There's no blood, not even a scab. I've felt things touching me in bed. I've seen strange lights in the hallway, everything. I've heard whispering and voices, everything. And I was just like, no, no, no. So the one gray says the other gray, let's just put two red X's on her ass. That'll get her attention. It was like brilliant. It did get my attention.
So that was the final straw, literally,
Yes,
to
for
make
me.
you turn and do something.
Yes, to come out.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, at the time it happened, there was no way I was going to come out. I mean, it took some time between getting the two X's and actually writing the book and coming out. It took some time because when I got the two X's, I, I had an existential crisis because I had to realize, oh my God, all of this is real. Like I was wishing that it was dreams. I was wishing maybe it was fantasies, but all the ET contact I've had in my entire life, you mean it's real? So then who am I? Who are we? What's going on? Why am I talking to grays in the middle of the night? Like I didn't know anything anymore. It felt like I was just floating in this void of nothing. Like nothing I knew to be true was true anymore. And it was a really scary and really weird place to be. And that is what made me realize, okay, I'm going to reach out and get help. Then I reached out to Kathy Martin, and then everything just started opening up. And then a few months after I talked to her, I woke up one morning and I said, I'm writing a book and I'm going to call it You Have the Right to Talk to Aliens. But when I went to sleep that night, I had no intention of writing a book. I had no intention of coming out. I didn't want my clients to know that I'm talking to ETs. I thought I would lose all my clients, would lose friends. I was just in fear about it coming out. But my fears were really unwarranted,
As
as
fears
often they
often
are.
are. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, do you think. No, no, wrong question. Are you on the right path now? And do you feel at home on this path ever since your red X's?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. I don't think anyone's asked me that before. I like it. Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, I feel like I'm on the right path because I observe my life. If I was depressed, sad, sick, suffering, miserable, then I would have to step back and go, okay, this isn't working for me. But I'm none of those things. I'm the exact opposite of those things. I enjoy my life. I'm very happy. I feel fulfilled. I feel like I'm actualizing my life purpose. And uh, so I to answer your question, I do feel like I'm on my path. I feel like I'm on a good path. And I've only been in the UFO world for about 7 or 8 years, not very long. But in this 7 or 8 years, there's been a big change in the acceptance. So it seems like society is ready to talk about spaceships, but they're not ready to talk about what's in the spaceship.
Correct.
So we
Yeah.
haven't quite gotten there yet. So okay, so at least it's a start.
Exactly. Every ladder has a first rung, so you got to start somewhere.
Right.
A question that Tiff wants to know, and Tiff's my girlfriend. She said this to me the other
Oh,
day. I want
thank
to
you.
know about alien footprints. She says everyone speaks about aliens, but no one ever says about footprints that may or may not be left anywhere. So, do you know of any cases or any scenarios in your life where you saw footprints, either in your house or outside or anything?
No, not footprints. It could maybe because they're levitating, but there have been other signs like broken branches, burnt grass, electromagnetic anomalies, those kind of things definitely have happened.
So there are footprints, but not literal feet prints, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right.
Footprints
Yeah,
of the
footprints
phenomenon.
of another kind.
Yeah.
Often we hear that these beings are slightly levitating. That's usually what we hear. I'm sure there's some cases where there was a being actually walking on the ground, but most of them are levitating.
I want that ability, you know. I used to have dreams years ago, recurring dreams of levitating off the ground, which is weird.
Okay, that's one of the signs of ET contact.
Thank you for that. You scared me even more.
It doesn't mean you've had ET contact, but it is a something that a lot of ET contactees have experienced. That it's flying
Can
in
I
their
ask you why?
dreams.
Is it because they've been transported, levitated to some place? Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I used to get that
Taken
a
out
lot.
of your bed and through the ceiling and all of that. It happens.
Oh, I'm gonna have to question my life all over again, but that's okay. You know, if this stuff was happening to me, it is what it is, and obviously I've agreed to it somewhere along the path. So
Yeah.
whatever. But maybe I'm just too weenie to take care of it in the conscious world, the waking world.
It doesn't have to be scary.
No, and I get
I
that.
was afraid of the grays, but they never hurt me, ever. So what was I afraid of? The unknown.
Well, being taken isn't that worrisome in itself. I don't like the idea of, oh, I'm in my bed and I've gone to bed because I want to sleep. Yeah, I don't want to suddenly be taken from there and then be somewhere else. Whoa, what's going on?
Yeah. So the unusual thing about the two X's, I have a conscious memory of being on this bed, like a hospital type bed. Excuse me. I was laying on my side and I was in this room that I did not recognize. And there was only one piece of furniture across from me and it was dimly lit. And I couldn't move my arms and I couldn't move my legs, like the typical on a bed paralyzed story.
Sure.
It's true. And I sensed something standing behind me. And when I turned around, right here was a gray. And we locked eyes. We stared into each other's eyes. He was doing something to my back. And I was, oh my gosh, I was so afraid because you know what I was mostly afraid of is that there was no telepathic communication coming from this gray. And in all my other encounters, there was always telepathic communication. So to stare at him straight in his eyes, and I describe it like looking into two pools of black oil and not getting anything from him was scary. I mean,
Mm.
very scary. So I turned my head back around and ding, I find myself back in my bedroom. Now, when I was on that bed in that room, I knew I was on the moon. So the next morning, I was in a relationship then, and I asked him, did you see anything strange last night? This was after our Roswell contact, so he knew that I was having contact. And he goes, no, nothing strange happened. I said, was I missing? He goes, no, you were never missing. I'm like, are you sure? He goes, no, I'm pretty sure you were there the whole time. So in my mind, I'm like, how do I go to the moon? how does that happen? How is my body taken to the moon and I'm X'd and then brought back? Time warps, space, some kind of
Yeah,
strange
or
thing.
something else. It throws up the question: is your body bilocated? So you're still in bed, and then whatever level of your body is up there, being branded or Xed or whatever, and then when you come back here, it merges to be the X body.
Very
That's
possible.
possible.
Because we tend to think of that kind of bilocation more of a like a spiritual nature or
Hmm.
a soul-based nature, as opposed to like two physical bodies
Yeah.
bilocating, but that could be the case, yeah.
How did you know you were on the moon?
I just knew it. I was on that bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on the moon. And I've never had that feeling before, ever. And I've learned to trust those instincts because I've they've proven themselves to be true to me.
Was that a mediumship instinct, or do you think there was a conscious someone told you before the memory sort of cut off that you were on the moon?
I knew I was on the moon when I was on the bed. So as I was lying there on my side, I'm like, where am I? I'm on the moon. It was like that.
Yeah, my point is, did you perhaps you were told slightly before you became aware in that bed that you were on
I
the
don't
moon by
know.
them, or was it an innate mediumship side of you that I know I'm on the moon?
I don't know.
Either way, fascinating.
I don't know.
Yeah, quality, quality. Um,
Mhm.
Now obviously you alluded to the fact earlier that part of their agenda is the hybridization thing, which suggests they're nuts and bolts, flesh and blood creatures. Um, but there's also this sort of like interdimensional astral side of things that plays into the whole alien phenomena. Do you think the Greys are part of the story of man and always have been, or have they just come to us recently and now interacting?
I think the Greys have been around for quite a while. Many ETs have been around for quite a while. I think many ETs are part of our uh, lineage and our ancestry. It's not just the Greys, it's many, but they are one of them, yes.
Do you think then they're an integral part of the human existence, meaning that they're just like an arm? That's an example. We need an arm to get about and do things. Is the ET contact a part of the human experience and always has been?
ET contact, yes. I believe it always has been and is part of the human experience. We live in a galactic neighborhood. And so for humans to think that human beings are just completely isolated and they're not connected to any other type of being at all is really arrogant. We live in a neighborhood where we interact with other civilizations and they interact with us. And that's always been going on. At some point, don't know when or why, uh, it's like our memory was wiped. And now we're relearning everything. We're remembering everything that we used to know about our lineage as human beings. I believe we all have ET DNA in us. Every single solitary person has ET DNA. We're made from stardust.
I
Now,
agree.
some of
Yeah.
us have more ET DNA than others, and some of us have activated more of their ET DNA
I'm
than
glad you
others.
mentioned that phrase because it was on your website and I wanted to ask about it. So what was DNA activation?
Mhm. There's your DNA is multidimensional. Our scientists don't know this. And it's the multidimensional aspects of our DNA that provide the ability for us to have these psychic experiences that we have, for us to understand information that comes through the other realms or the other dimensions. One way to activate your DNA is through meditation. That's really the best way, is through meditation. And when you activate the different layers of your DNA, you start to change as a person. One of the biggest changes is the need to know the truth. Is that I just want to know the truth. I'm not interested in unimportant
Say
things
it.
anymore. Yeah. You might lose interest in politics. Your diet might change. You become much more psychic. You adopt a different perspective, one from out here, and that can bring you peace. You react to stimuli differently, and this is all positive. It all creates a human being that's happier, fulfilled, living their purpose, living authentically. This is how all human beings want to be, where love is primary and we realize that we're all connected. And we don't want to kill anything, we don't want to abuse anything. We just want love and connection throughout, through all of us. It's just a heart connection with everybody.
Can people get there naturally, or does there have to be alien intervention to get people to this state that you're talking about?
Oh, no, you can do it naturally through meditation. Focus, awareness, meditation, and also what kind of books are you reading? Are you reading books about murders? What kind of TV shows are you watching? Are you watching TV shows about murders and people dying? What kind of video games are you playing? Are you killing things in your video games all day long? This affects your personal frequency, which is then going to affect your personal reality.
And that's
And
the
so
interesting bit, isn't it? Is that what you consume, you become, or the world around you becomes.
you emit, yes.
Yeah.
And then you worry about why. And I do not understand why people wonder why are kids going to their schools and shooting, and they can't see the correlation between that and the video games they play. Why can we not admit this? Money.
It's always money, money, control, and
Yeah.
power. It always has
Yeah.
been. Yeah.
So money is more important than the lives of children in America. Money is more important than the lives of the elderly, than the lives of animals. And so this is why the ETs are not landing in front of the White House right now. We wouldn't even understand their message. We're really violent and we do not care about each other. We enjoy watching people being murdered on TV. To me, that is atrocious. But
Yeah.
that is entertainment.
When you put it like that, it does sound bad, doesn't it?
It sounds like gladiators all over again,
Mm.
except you're not seeing it in front of you, you're seeing it on TV.
I'm glad you
I find it
mentioned.
horrible.
It is horrible, by the way, when you really step back and look at it. And it is the gladiatorial thing. I'm glad you mentioned the entertainment side of things, right? Because another question that I've asked people before is that do alien species have entertainment? Like
Oh,
their own soap shows and things, you know? Or
I
are
don't
we
know.
their entertainment?
I don't know. That's never been shown to me. I don't know. That is a good question.
Because
And
it
I
makes you
don't,
think, is their life just always science and interacting? There've got to be something else they do in their downtime, surely.
well, because there's a hybridization program, I tend to think that they there is some kind of family, some kind of unity, some kind of love that does permeate their existence, because uh, one aspect of the hybridization program that's so interesting is often the human mother is needed to hold the hybrid child. That bond, the ETs have discovered that bond is crucial so that that hybrid child survives. And so it's just love. And so the hybridization program involves love. And if that is the case, then I do think that these beings are doing more than just flying spaceships or researching things or being scientists. I do believe that they have like a family or they have another aspect to themselves that incorporates love.
Hmm. Just makes me think behind the scenes. Like, I wonder what sports they're playing. You know, things like this. I know that's a human
I
way of
wondered
thinking.
about that too, but that brings up the topic of competition.
Mm.
So Americans are extreme. Well, Earth is a very competitive planet.
Well, life
I
is,
don't
isn't it?
care for
Exactly. Yeah.
competition at all. I really don't understand it. I don't understand all this Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. I really don't get it. But are they competitive? Are the ETs competitive? I don't know. I don't know.
See, I would think they would be, and the reason I say that is right. Life is about competition. There's a couple of seeds next to each other. One wants to beat the other to be the first one to the sunlight. Everything is survival of the fittest. And you could trace that to every aspect of humanity. Everything on this earth is competing with each other for resources, for sunlight, for water, for whatever, yeah? Because it wants to live. And if they're a flesh and blood creature, that imperative must be within their DNA or their timeline or their ancestry or whatever. So there must be competitiveness in them.
Well, but some experiences have shown planets and extraterrestrials where there is no competition.
Mm. Weird to think about, though, isn't it? Knowing that that's how life evolves, as far as we're aware on this planet, anyway.
Yeah. Well, maybe it has to do with the ego. Maybe if you're not living through your ego, maybe you don't need to be competitive.
Yeah, they've obviously
Uh,
evolved to a point where they don't have to be competitive to survive because they've
no.
covered all their bases, so to speak.
Well, yeah, because they love one another and no one is seen as a threat.
Yes,
Because uh, no one feels less than, no one feels small, no one feels that uh, they're being ignored. We have multiple races, and many of our races feel that huge injustices have been done to them, and they have. And so these feelings of not being respected can cause these outbursts of anger. And so if you're living in a society where every single person is respected, allowed to be themselves, allowed to live fully, then you don't have these outbursts of fear which correlate to murder.
etc. Yeah, and all the bad stuff.
Mhm.
Now, I know a lot of experiencers will come back and they'll say they've been enhanced by their experience in that their psychic abilities are now present or they've been strengthened or whatever. Why is that part of the paranormal experience? Why do we need to be enhanced, say, telepathically or whatever?
We don't have to be, but it just naturally happens because those aspects of ourselves are exercised in the ET
I see.
contact. So you can ask somebody, do you have telepathic abilities? And they'll say no. But then they get taken that night and then they have telepathic communication with a stranger ET. So we all have it in us. And when you have telepathic communication with an ET, that strengthens your other psychic abilities too. It's just a muscle that you have to know about and that you have to exercise. And that's what happens. And often, almost always, ET contactees have increased psychic abilities.
Are we all senders of information, but we can't receive necessarily?
Both. It goes both ways. We send and receive.
But we might not consciously say. I would take myself as just throw myself out as an example. I've never heard anyone's thoughts or anything. I know there are people out there that have that ability. So I'm sending my thoughts out now because if I just speak silently in my mind consciously, I'm sending out a thought, but I can't hear anything else. So I don't know what my question was, unless you heard it telepathically. Do you know what I mean? Are we? What I'm getting at is we're all senders because we can all think,
Oh,
and
yes,
therefore
yes.
that's going out there. But I can't
Yes.
receive because it's not turned on. Maybe.
No, you are receiving. You're just not focused on hearing it.
Okay, I like it.
And that's what I help my clients do. I offer sessions where I help them learn how to channel, learn how to increase their psychic abilities. It's all a big benefit because it's free information and it's geared perfectly for you. It's free information. It's like free therapy. You can get this information. And that's why I love to teach people how to channel. Everyone can do it, how to download information, how to strengthen your psychic abilities. It's fun.
I,
We could all
I,
do
I
it.
know it is. I'd like to do it.
Mhm.
There's always things that get in the way, aren't there? This life gets in the way of that. It's just your choice, I suppose.
Exactly, your choice, your focus. Do you want to do it? If you want to do it, then all it takes is first knowing that you have psychic abilities, second, knowing that you can use them, and third, practice, 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 practice forever.
And some more practice on top to help. You can never have enough practice. I have a
No.
question for you, right, on this whole ET topic, which is, are you happy that you're involved in it? Or would you rather it didn't happen to you?
Oh, that's a good question too. Am I happy that it happened to me?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Yes, because it's just nice to live in a way that you're aware of the other aspects of yourself in the other dimensions. It's nice to have to use your psychic abilities to live. That part is nice. Um, the part that was not nice was the turmoil that I put myself through for decades. That part I wish I didn't have to do, that I didn't do, but I didn't know any better. These days, you don't have to put yourself through turmoil if you're an ET contactee. There's so much help. I'm not the only one. There's lots of people helping. So I'm glad that if you decide to get help, you can really cut down on decades of difficulties. Uh, did that answer your question?
Yes, no, perfectly.
Okay.
Because, yeah, prior to, let's call it a recent awakening and the advent of the internet, there were so many less avenues for people to go and talk to somebody else, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, with the connectivity, it's made it easier.
Yeah. Right. And the other thing about ET contact is it puts you on a path of spirituality, or it 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 encourages you to dig deep down inside yourself and to really look at yourself. Some call this as being going on a spiritual path. That aspect of it is very nice. However, at the same time, as you're going inward and as you're discovering things about yourself, you're discovering the positive and you're also discovering things that you don't like about yourself that you want to transform. And that goes on, and you're constantly peeling. Once you step foot on the spiritual journey of self-awareness, you are peeling forever. And sometimes the peeling is like, do I have to peel again? Like, how many more times do I have to peel? Like, how many more realizations do I have to have about myself? Like, when can this stop? And the answer is it does not stop.
I've only
Once
got
you
so
start,
much
it's like
skin.
you're duped. Right. So that aspect of it, a lot of us joke about that. It's like, what, can this just end? And no, it can't just end, because once it's like a flower, and once that one petal opens, the other one's going to open the other one, and it's just going to keep on going and going and going. And sometimes some petals are easier to open than others, but we all have like these dark recesses inside of us that if we go there, uh, it's not nearly as bad as we think it's going to be, but it can be pretty heavy.
Oh, I agree. And I like sharing these with my girlfriend. We'll go around, we'll walk the block, right, with our dog. And I just like throw out some of the dark thoughts we have. It's not meaning we're a bad person, it's just they're in your head, so get them out. Do you know what I mean? I like exploring that side of people as well. So you can give out all the nice stuff, all the horrible stuff, and then just say, that's come from me somewhere. I'm not an evil guy, it's just, it's part of us. Get it
Yeah, I
out.
love that you can say that to your girlfriend. That's a
Oh, and
really
she does
cool
the same as well, yeah.
conversation to have.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. I
Well, I
don't think
think
a
that's
lot of
exactly
people
what you
could
said.
do that.
Yeah, well,
Excuse me?
because it's the discovering of yourself. I'll give you a backstory of me, right? I'm 50 years old, right? Probably when I was about 20 20 to 30. So we're in that period of time. I was alone for a long time. And then I took that time to really know myself. So I knew myself not necessarily through any spiritual experience that I'm aware of, but I took the time to know myself. And now, knowing all I know about myself, I'm still peeling the layers, like you've said, but I'm quite deep on myself and also harsh on myself.
Yeah, if maybe we can give ourselves more grace,
Yeah, that's the one thing I
be
need to do.
nicer to ourselves. That helps a lot. Because in my sessions with clients, one of the biggest issues is just being really mean to ourselves. Like we talk to ourselves the way we would never talk to anybody else, or especially to a child. So I'm like, let's talk to ourselves as if we were a child and just be really nice and kind. And that would really make a big difference in your self-worth and your self-esteem if we talk to ourselves like that. That is the biggest issue with my clients. The self-worth, self-esteem, negative talk.
And also, I was trying to be perfect all the time, but that's impossible. So don't live
Oh,
up to that lofty goal. I don't mean that to say don't
mm,
reach for being perfect because you should, but do you know what I mean? I had to forgive myself for not being perfect when I let myself down on certain occasions. Do you know what I mean?
yes. Yes, right. Yeah. hmm I know
Right,
exactly what.
back to your red X's. Are they still there or did they fade?
No, they faded.
That's good. You don't want those, do you? Branding you on your ass for quite a while. And
Yeah.
that, okay, so let's move into the my lab thing. And I didn't expect to go in this direction, but I kind of like it. I like fresh ground. So,
Okay.
military abductions, that's what it stands for. What do you think the reason is that? Is that just so that the governments or whatever can find out more about the phenomenon from you?
Yeah. I think it's a debriefing
Ah. Is this something
because,
you've agreed to again or not?
yes, I think through our higher selves, we agree to every experience we're having. I do believe that. Uh, uh, thinking about, I can remember 5 or 6 Milab experiences, and in most of them, I was being asked for information. For instance, the very, very first one, the one that happened the very day I talked to Kathy Martin. I was taking down these stairs into this big office complex. Look like government offices, just really bland, you know how they look. And always young men in their 20s and 30s with like these bland clothes on, really short hair. And I was taken to a poster. Actually, I drew this. I was taken to a poster. There's this man standing next to me. And the poster on the wall was the flight path of a UFO, a spaceship. And along the flight path were all these mathematical equations, scientific equations. I have a biology degree from Loyola University. And I don't remember what the equations are. After I came out of it, I don't remember. But we're looking at it, and the man turns to me and he says, or he asks me, when does a spaceship attain its K point? And then I'm out. Like, I don't remember anything else. And so I contacted Grant Cameron. Do you know Grant
Yeah,
Cameron?
I spoke to him. Yeah.
Well-known ufologist in Canada. He had interviewed me a couple times. I'm very fond of him. I like him very much. And I emailed him. I'm like, I just had this Millab, and they asked me about the K point. And he sent me information about a lady who came in contact with the Greys, and the Greys were teaching her about the K point. So because I have a biological scientific background, I'm like, did I learn about the K point? I don't even remember what the K point is. And I looked it up and it's a real thing. And I actually heard it mentioned when I was watching the Winter Olympics and the sport where ski jump, maybe when you come up really high and then you reach a point, the highest point, and then you come back down. So the K point, I think it's the highest point. I think that's what it has something to do with that because the announcer was talking about the skier's K point. I was like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, yeah, that really is a real thing. So at other time, the worst experience I had, the absolutely worst experience I had, which is very hard for me to talk about, and I think I've maybe only talked about it once, was I was being asked to do something psychic, and I refused because I knew it was nefarious, and I was tortured. It was really bad mental torture. See, I'm getting upset because it was that intense because they know what upsets you the most and they'll put it right there in front of you. What upsets you the most, they know it and they use it against you. And so I just had to fight through that. But, and then I was also uh, physically threatened too. But I lived through it, and that was my last one. I don't remember having one after that.
Don't you find it weird, right, that we've discussed earlier that everything's personal experience, right? So why does there need to be some measure of government organization or whatever runs the MyLab scenarios? Surely they must have within the government loads of people working there. Surely some of them would be experiencers. So why would they need to take external experiencers such as yourself?
Well, just more data. Lots of data is good.
But then to like torture you and mentally abuse you and stuff, I don't.
Well, that's the human aspect of it.
Horrible.
And for instance, with the hybridization program, it seems like when we just stick with the ETs, the babies are healthy. I've had a MILAB experience where they asked me to heal sickly hybrid babies. I think it's MILAB, sickly hybrid babies. And there was a human doctor standing next to me and a human nurse in front of me. And they brought me this one baby, a hybrid baby that was spitting up blood. And it was heavily swaddled in a lot of cloth, a lot of fabric. And they wanted me to heal it. They took that one away. They brought another one in, same thing, heavily swaddled with a lot of cloth, vomiting blood. And I knew this was half ET, half human. Seems like when the humans come in, like the kids are sick, vomiting blood. So what was unusual with this one is that as I was held my hands over it, it rolled off the table and I grabbed its cloth. And when I grabbed its cloth, it came off its body. And although its head was like the size of a normal baby head, its neck was about the size of my pinky. It was super skinny. And I went, and then that's all I remember. So I'm wondering how many hybridization programs are there? How many are just purely ET run? How many are now humans got in on it too? I don't know.
That was my very, very next question to you. I wonder if we have our own hybridization program trying to run off the back
I
of theirs,
I
and we're doing
I
it poorly.
That's my belief. I
Hmm.
personally believe that.
We're mental, aren't we, humans?
Mental? Yeah,
You know,
we're not
proper bad.
nice. We're
No,
not nice. We're
not
not
nice at
nice.
all. Right, I think that's covered all my. Oh no, actually no, one more. The familial aspect. Is it in your family? Is your mum and dad had experiences?
Ah, okay. So I have a mom, a dad, and a sister. My dad passed away about 6 years ago. And they're all very psychic. They channel. Growing up, we believed in ETs and we believed in supernatural experiences. My parents taught me how to meditate when I was in the fifth grade. And so I've been meditating since then. They were very open-minded. Being old school Turkish people, they were like beyond their years. And oh, what was the question?
Familial, yeah. So
Yeah.
does it happen to
Okay,
your mum
yes,
and
yes,
dad?
to my family. Okay. And growing up, we always talked about our experiences in terms of supernatural, not in terms of ET. Although ET stuff was happening, but we always couched it in the supernatural more, like more of a paranormal thing. And I was told by the ETs that each one, my mom was contacted, she wasn't interested. My sister was contacted, she was too scared, she wasn't interested. My dad was contacted, he was interested, but his tilt was more towards supernatural. I was the only one in the family that was contacted and wanted to stay in contact, is what they told me.
Interesting.
Now, beyond my mom and dad, I don't know.
Now you don't have any offspring yourself, do you?
I
From what I
don't.
read.
Mm-mm.
Can I ask you a personal question here? Is this a conscious decision by you to stop the abduction or experience chain, or do you think this is just part of
No,
life?
no, no. It was, I didn't want to have kids for a long time, and then I wanted to have kids, and then I didn't want to have kids. So it was all, I believe, my private choice.
No, no, fair enough.
When I was making my decisions to have children or not to have children, the ETs were never part of it, that decision.
Good. No, I'm glad of that because I just thought if that was the case, I wonder if it's part of us consciously to stop, not abuse, but do you know what I mean? You stop that issue.
The hybridization.
No, if by you saying, right, I'm not having kids, so this familial abductions or whatever can't carry on, I wondered if that was there as a stop, a
Well, I didn't
conscious
want
stop.
kids, but I didn't want kids, human kids, and but I was in the hybridization program
Hmm.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So was I subconsciously thinking, oh, I already have kids? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know.
Right, right.
What about the people who must have a big family on this side of things? I see in the human side, and then they might have a massive hybridization family as well, and they're like, "Oh God, one's enough. What's
Yeah,
going on?"
yeah.
Right. Let's branch off into the mediumship side of things. I read on your site again, since early age, you could hear, feel, and see interdimensional information. Can you explain that to us?
I think that I think I might have strengthened my psychic abilities because I didn't know English until I started first grade. And so I came here, and for many years, I didn't understand what was being said around me. And I think I just relied on my psychic abilities to try and understand what the person was saying, try and understand the mood in the room. I think a lot of those abilities were strengthened because I just didn't know the language and I wanted to know what was going on.
What year is first grade, by the way? How old is it? How old is that?
7.
7. Okay, cool.
Hmm. Hmm. Is that the same where you are?
I don't know. When I grew up, we didn't have first grade or anything. It was just infant school, junior school, senior school, and it wasn't
Oh, you
grades
didn't
per
have
se.
separate grades?
No,
Well, how
no.
long would each of those schools last?
I think infant school was maybe 1 or 2 years. Junior school, I think, was 3, maybe 4. I can't remember exactly. And then senior school was 5 or 6 or 7, depending.
Oh, well, then how would you say I'm in my last year of the senior school? What would there
I'm
be
in
a word
sixth
for that?
form. I'm in the fifth form, sixth form,
Oh, how
7. Yeah, it
interesting.
was. Yeah, this was. I think it's changed now to this first grade, second grade thing for younger people. But when I grew up, we didn't have that. It was just I'm in senior school first year. I'm in senior school second year. That sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I asked that question. So age 7, you didn't understand the people around you, so you lent more on your psychic abilities.
Hmm. I also think that my ET contact probably strengthened my abilities as well because ET contact involves your psychic abilities in order to communicate with them, in order to even interact with them. A lot of ET contact doesn't happen in the 3D. It happens in this interdimensional, multidimensional space, which we also call a psychic space, the dimensions beyond the 3D that we know of. And I was interested in it. I strengthened my abilities. I grew up playing psychic games with my father, my sister and I. My father is really a genius. Uh, we would play psychic games. He would say, "What color am I thinking? What shape am I thinking?" And my sister and I would have to guess. We bent spoons a la Uri Geller. Do you remember
Oh,
Uri
yeah,
Geller
yeah, yeah.
bending spoons? We did that. My dad brought home a Ouija board when I was in high school. I will not touch a Ouija board again. Insane things happen with that Ouija board. Insane. Some good, some not good. But I prefer not to touch a Ouija board again. And so it was my whole entire life. And my parents taught me how to meditate in 5th grade. So this was a part of my life, talking about your soul, talking about past lives, talking about ETs. It was just completely accepted in my family. Now, um, did we talk freely about it with other family members or friends? No, no. Because if we tried, we were, excuse me, completely shut down. You guys are weird. We were known as being weird. We were the weird ones.
Yep, here comes Sev.
Yeah.
Keep yourself to yourself. Yeah. She's gone. Now
Yeah.
let's carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so
I
it
kind of
was
envy
that.
that though, that you had that mind expanding interaction in your family. Because that's
Yeah.
amazing. I wish
From
I had
day
that.
one. Yes. I'm very grateful for it. So grateful for it. I do believe that it's helped me a lot. Yeah. And the other thing was my mom smoked a pipe in public. And she drove a red Camaro. And so my sister and I were little, we'd be in the car and we're little, and she's speeding. My dad had to buy her a Volkswagen because she had so many speeding tickets from that red Camaro. I think it had a T-top. And so she's speeding down the road and she's smoking this pipe, and just about every truck that went by go, and I'm used to, like, we'd be in a restaurant, my mom would just take out a little pipe. It was very pretty, very dainty, beautiful little pipe. People would stare, be like, oh my God, look
I'm
at
glad
this.
you said
Yeah.
it was small because I was imagining this huge
No,
thing
it was
like
very,
rar,
very
rar,
small.
rar,
And
like
it
Popeye.
was tobacco. It was tobacco. And so I've just been used to being stared at. I've been used to thinking, oh, you're weird. There's just like, I'm used to it.
Hmm.
I'm used to it. But coming out as an experiencer, that took me a long time. That was like too weird. That was too weird.
That's a step beyond the standard weird.
Yeah.
That's into weird shit. So, no, yeah. Um, Here's a question again that I don't 100% know I get the right answer to, if there is a right answer, by the way. But why do you think we can connect to the other dimension if this life is a learning experience? Why do we need that interaction there?
Well, we can't help it. It's just part of our natural state of being. We're just more than just this. We're existing in all the dimensions right now at the same time. And so, where are we going to put our focus? On the 3D? Or can we put our focus maybe more out here in another dimension, more out here in another dimension? We exist everywhere. It's just natural. It's just another part of us that we're not paying attention to as a 3D human.
Yeah, again, it's hard for me to parse this one because I think, right, there's loads of people on Earth, right, that are so focused on their day-to-day life and just living that all this stuff that we're talking about today might as well just not even exist and doesn't exist to them. So they're focused on this life. So they must have come here for a learning experience. If we look at this whole, we choose our lives. This is we come here for whatever purpose. They must have also chosen that experience.
Yes.
Why are some of us attuned to? Are we the cheaters in the system, or are we just the more
No,
advanced pupils?
no. Many of us are just trying to get the word out that if you do pay attention to these other aspects of yourself, eventually our society can move into a more loving society where there won't be so many people who are suffering, who can't pay the bills, who are sick, who feel like life is just a drudgery. I just wake up, go to work, go to sleep, wake up. Okay, what kind of life is that? I mean, that's hell. And so, for those of us who are in this realm, we feel that the more people that can embody these messages and practice them and incorporate them into their lives, they will see a major transformation. And then the next transformation, and then someone else will transform, and then someone else will transform by either asking us questions or maybe we're on an interview show. And so we can hopefully eliminate the lower vibrations of suffering and anger and greed.
And I like that, and I agree with it. But here's what I can't reconcile, right? If we've chosen to come here to perform whatever task it is, learning, whatever, you've come here and you're connected to all these extra realms, you know that part of yourself exists, etc. And I'm probably lower on the rung, but I can also appreciate the wider world. And I've made that choice to come here as a person, Paul, who appreciates the wider world. Why would that person called, we'll call him Dave, come here just to be a bum on a beach, not
Right.
connected to everything? Why, if we know that we need to raise the vibration so everything's amazing here, why would somebody choose to come here really low? Because they must know that we need to raise the vibration. So why wouldn't they also choose to come here at a high vibration?
Yes. Well, we do not know any, we can, everyone has their own karmic path. Everyone has their own reason for doing what they're doing. I don't know why someone would choose to come and live in a very poor, unhealthy state and someone else not. However, on Earth, some somebody has to live that out because on Earth, we want to see that. On Earth, we want to see people suffer. So somebody has to come and embody that energy. On Earth, we wanted a Hitler, or else he wouldn't have existed.
Well, does that mean then we're never going to get everything better because we always need someone to be the sufferer? Are we
Well,
always going
that's
to be in this
going
state?
well, going back to what we were talking about earlier, is the reason a lot of people in the spiritual realm or in this ET realm are talking is hoping to expand awareness and consciousness so that we can start to chip away and eliminate some of those lower states of being or those lower vibratory rates that have to be fulfilled. They have to be fulfilled because they exist here on earth. Somebody has to be a jerk. Somebody has to be a murderer. Somebody has to be the evil person because we want that.
I just don't see how we get out of it then. Because someone has
Why
to choose from up
everyone's
here to come here to do it. Do you know what I mean?
because it exists on earth, and the reason it exists on earth is because uh the most of the individuals are not living authentically and are not aware of their entire being. They're not aware that they exist beyond 3D. They're not aware of their interdimensional qualities, their multidimensional abilities. So the more people who are aware of that, the more that will become empowered and the more that can lift themselves. And then slowly we could start to get rid of the suffering and the anger and the fear that resides here. Did that make sense?
Yes, and no. And the reason I say this is right, it's a chicken and egg thing, really, in that if there is a higher self and we're choosing to come here and do a job, let's just call it a job, my job today will be the sufferer guy.
Uh-huh.
If I know that part of the plan of this is to raise everyone so that we don't, so with over the course of time or whatever it is, we eliminate
Hmm.
suffering, I up
Hmm.
there know that that needs to take place. So why don't I choose to come here as a non-sufferer so that everyone who chooses to come here from the higher self is automatically at a better non-suffering rate, then we've achieved it outside of
Because
the earth experience.
I understand what you're saying.
Hmm.
The experience of the suffering is something that that soul entity wanted to play with. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what
and
I've
it
been
makes
told.
sense, but do you see where I'm going? Because it means it could end up doing this for forever. Because now I want
Well,
to be a sufferer.
no, not necessarily. No, not forever, because there has been much more of an awareness about what we're talking about than ever before on the planet. Let's just talk about the United States of America. There's much more of awareness of spirituality and spirit guides and channeling. Look at the telepathy tapes.
Hmm.
I actually met her. I was at a conference over the weekend called the Psy Games, it was the first conference of its kind. It was the best conference I've ever been to in my whole entire life. It was
Were
amazing.
you speaking?
No, I wasn't speaking. I was invited as a guest. Uh, it was the first of its kind. And on the second day, the entire day was filled with these psychic games where people would get on stage and they would play psychic games, remote viewing, precognition, many other games. And it was really amazing to watch. Well, this one lady came up Actually, Grant Cameron just interviewed her, I think yesterday. Is a mother-daughter. The little girl is severely autistic, just like the telepathy tapes, and she barely talks, so she uses a letter board to point to the letters. So the mom comes on stage, and in the audience, we just thought she was another normal person. Well, she is a normal person. But every psychic game that she played, she got 100% correct. 100% with blindfolds on. There was this one game where she has blindfolds on and they're holding up pieces of colored paper in front of her and she's going to tell us what color it is. Before the man can barely even get the paper out of the box, there's only this much showing, she tells us the color. Before they can even set the timer, because she had 15 seconds, she tells us the color. Before the MC can even put the mic in front of her, she tells us the color. 100% time, every single time. And at the end, they wanted to fool her and they pulled up two colors. And she's like, yellow and red. And at one point, the MC was talking and he had papers in his hand. And
Hmm.
he like put them in front of her face like this as he was talking. And she said, "You're blocking my view." I'm like, oh my gosh, she has blindfolds on. So her daughter came up, and I'm a little concerned about these children being used as entertainment. But the little daughter, oh my God, the thing she did was amazing. She did many things. The MC, who's Jimmy Church, he wrote a question down on a piece of paper and he didn't show it to anybody. And the little girl had to just guess the answer. She didn't know what the question was. So he writes it down, and the mother says, okay. And she puts the letter board up in front of her, and she's Yellow. She goes, okay, the answer is yellow. So the question is, what color is the sun? Another time, the MC was given a pack of oracle cards, and he picked one out, and the little girl cannot see it, the mother cannot see it, and it had two fish swimming on it, and underneath it, it had letting go. So the mother goes, okay, are you ready? All right, what's on the card? She spells out two fish swimming. And then what's written on the bottom? And she spells out letting go. And everyone's jaws dropped. It was like the room was going to explode. So I've seen this on TV. Yeah, I've seen it, on shows. I've heard about it. But to actually see it in person, it's mind-boggling. And she's right. She said everybody can do this and everybody can do this. It's just that she has been practicing and studying how to do it. The little girl, I don't know if she's been practicing or studying. It could just be that it's a very inherent ability of hers that she might need to use in order to get through this world.
Yeah, the abilities of the telepathy tapes children is astounding. I listened and watched a number of interviews on the subject. I tried to get hold of. Is it Kai Dickens? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
medical doctor, the doctor that the research was based on, was at the Psy Games, and she gave a lecture, and she was on a panel. Uh, Hennessy Powell, Diane Hennessy Powell. Uh, she almost lost her medical license because of this. She was the only woman on the panel, by the way. I just want to say that. And she almost lost her license over this. Her medical license. She
well,
didn't
that's
lose
that
it.
stigma again for you, isn't it?
Oh
It
my God.
pervades
But it's
everything.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just a shame. But she fought it, and here we are, and we're talking about it, and she had the number one podcast in America. She beat Joe Rogan. I mean, that's amazing.
That is amazing, yeah, because he's
Yeah,
been
I
number
don't
one
know
for
if
such a long time.
consistently, but at least once she did. Yeah, and
Well,
he
that's
had
fair
her
enough.
on.
Those side games, was that like similar to the games that you used to play then with your dad? And what were the
Yes,
outcomes of those? Did you win?
with my dad.
Yeah. Did you
Oh
get them
yeah,
right?
it was
Yeah, yeah.
pretty high. No, I wasn't. It wasn't 100%, but it was pretty high, and it was fun. It was fun. And I never talked about doing that with any of my girlfriends. Or I remember one time I talked about meditating with when I was in elementary school with a friend. Oh my God. Like 20 kids surrounded me. And like, what? What are you doing? And I felt so uncomfortable that I'm like, never gonna talk about it again.
Yeah,
Never
meditation's a
talk about
horrible
it.
topic. Never talk about it. It's disgusting.
Well, yoga was seen as it wasn't yoga seen as evil at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, people thought that yoga was bad. Yeah. People
So
think
that
channeling is bad.
yeah, that's had a lot of negative press over the course of time, just on radio shows I've listened to, I know a few people have stuck their neck out and said I don't like channeling, and part of that coloured me until I I've had some channelers on this program, and then you think to yourself, well, they're coming up with information that I didn't, that I know that they wouldn't know. So you think, well, there's something to it, isn't there?
Yeah, there's definitely something to it. And
Mm.
there's information that floats around us. We live in this matrix of information and you can pick it out. So I love to teach people how to channel, and I have not met a single person that couldn't do it.
That's amazing, isn't it? That just means that we're all highly psychic in some way or another. We just have to reach for it and
We have
exercise,
to
like you
believe
said.
it.
We have to
We have to
practice and
believe
believe.
it
Yeah.
and practice. But first we have to believe it. There's some people that don't even believe it,
Oh yeah,
which is
and
sounds
let's be fair. Probably the majority of people don't believe it, and that's because of propaganda of TV and stuff
I
as
know,
well.
but don't you think the majority of people have had an experience where they thought of someone and then they
Oh
called?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But they're not
Okay,
equating
so
that. They're not equating the two. They're just saying that's a coincidence. That's something
coincidence.
weird in life. And like you said, they put that away in a compartment, and they can't
Yes,
compute it or reconcile it. That's all that is.
right.
Yeah, it's weird. Here's something that we might not be able to reconcile or compute as we enter the Koit zone. Koit zone. So, in the Koit zone, I'm going to ask you even randomer questions than we've already spoken about. So, let's start with an easy one. What is the best way to eat eggs for you? Told you it would be a random question. So, how do you like to eat eggs?
I like my eggs hard boiled and also over easy.
Oh, okay. When you do a hard-boiled egg, right? What's your time of choice? Is it three,
Oh
four?
gosh. This is oh this is something I've been experimenting with for years, so it's funny that you would even ask me this. It depends on how many eggs are in the pot. And usually I like it 10 to 12 minutes because I
Whoa,
like them a
that's
little,
long.
well, for me, that brings them out to be a little jammy. I like a little jammy egg. Sometimes a hard-boiled egg is necessary, but a jammy egg in a salad tastes really good too.
My Tiffany would love you. She likes some long cooked eggs as well. I like mine just to be just cooked enough where the white's all cooked and then the yellow, the yolk, is perfectly runny. That's a hard one to get because
Oh,
you have
like
to
over
eyeball
easy. Over easy.
on a boiled egg, but over easy if you do it in a pan. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want everything cooked nicely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I like the runny yolks. When
Runny
I was little,
yolks.
I would
Yes.
eat raw oaks,
Oh whoa.
yolks. Yeah, I just like crack the egg open and just dip toast in the raw yolk and eat it. I don't, uh, over easy is almost the same thing as that.
Yeah, it's the same anyway, isn't it? I don't like that snotty bit though. You have to cook that bit. That's gross out.
I don't
um,
like the white part. I usually cut a lot of the white part off.
yeah, Tiff would love you. She also does that. Is there a personal story from the COVID lockdown days that sticks out for you? Could be something funny or something random.
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah. It's personal. I was in a serious relationship going on almost 5 years, and then he didn't want to be in it anymore. And I love to sail, and we came here to start a yacht charter company, which we did. So we were sailing down to the Keys in the Florida, and we got there, and this was just a couple days before New Year's Eve 2020. And he said, I want to do the rest of the trip by myself. I'm like, oh my
Gut
God. All right, right?
wrencher.
So break up, go home, and I'm like, all right, do some channeling, figure out what happened. I got some answers as to what happened. And I'm like, I got to nurse my heart. So the January, February, I'm like, all right, now I think I'm going to move. Where am I going to move to? And then COVID hits. So, I didn't move anywhere. And I just, we all did the same thing. All just stayed inside and just tried to keep ourselves busy. So my COVID experience is equated with the breakup and mending a broken heart is my COVID experience.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I think it's a part of everyone's lives, isn't it? At some stage, the breakup thing. I don't know why.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Do you know? I mean, there are some people who've been married. since day one, since they were like teenagers or early 20s.
Are they the
And they,
lucky ones or the or the ones that
I
are
don't
not so
know.
lucky?
I don't know.
Do you have a favorite photograph?
No,
Okay, cool. Is there what can you fix?
I can. Oh, so one time I had a job. I worked for Stanley Tools. I don't know if you have Stanley Tools over
Yes.
there. Yeah. And so I would call on Home Depots and I was taught how to fix pneumatic tools. And so I'd be at the table, they'd be like, the Home Depot. I don't know if you have Home Depot over there. Home Depot would say, tell all these construction workers, come on in and we'll fix your pneumatic tools for free. So they come to the table and I'm sitting there and a man is sitting next to me. And I would always give the man the tool. And then I would grab it and I would say, I can fix this. And I was taught how to fix pneumatic tools.
Do you know what? When here's something that you won't have seen because only I could see it because I'm looking at you. Is that when that came to you, you went, you came to life.
I guess I forgot about it.
Yeah, I love that. That
Yeah, well,
spark
thank
in
you.
someone, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Because to me that was very funny. And then the guy would come back after lunch and I would hand him his tool and it would work. And he'd say, you fixed this? I'm like, yep, I fixed it. This little girl fixed your pneumatic tool.
Did you get any tips?
No,
Ah, oh, swines.
I couldn't take any tips.
Oh, could you
You're
not?
at Home Depot, it's a free service.
Oh, okay, fair enough. A slight
Yeah.
tenor here and there would have gone nicely, you know. Do you
Yeah.
have any recurring dreams?
I used to, but I don't anymore. I don't have any recurring dreams
Are
anymore.
you able to tell me of one of them, or if they're too personal? I understand.
They would, well, some of them would be the obvious. You're in school and you're about to graduate, but you find out you didn't take the final exam and you're not going to graduate. And, that kind of a lot of school related things. Uh, but growing up, I had recurring dreams of beings. I also had recurring dreams of being sucked into the earth and going down into the
Oh,
middle of
whoa.
earth. Yeah, those kind. None of
Wow.
my recurring dreams were pleasant. They were all kind of scary growing
Yeah,
up.
I don't think recurring dreams tend to have this niceness attached to them because all mine were
Yeah,
quite shitty from memory. Yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
weird. Cool, thank you for that. Have you ever broken a bone?
No.
Well played, well played. Um, this might lead into this actually. Is there an activity in life that you would like to try that you haven't yet? And I'll give you an example, i.e., skydiving.
Yes, I would like to do skydiving. I have not done that. What I would really love to do is to be in a helicopter, go to this pristine place, snowy place. I'm not even fond of snow, but jump out of the helicopter on a snowboard and then
And then
but
land in snow, yeah.
I've never snowboarded in my life. I prefer the beach over the snow. I don't know why I have that desire. I will never do it because I've never even snowboarded once in my life. I'll never do it. But that seems to be like, to me, the ultimate high.
Have you seen a YouTube video on it or something in your past, do you think? Or is it just something that's
Yes.
always been there?
No, it's probably because I saw someone do it. I'm like, that looks magnificent. I can't even imagine how that would feel to jump out of an airplane onto this pristine snow where there isn't a single footprint, like maybe no human has ever been there, and then just slide all the way down that fast.
There you go.
Looks
Something to
fun.
work towards there, Sev.
I am not going to do it.
You're
I've
booking a
never even
helicopter trip.
skied. I haven't even skied. So for me to even want to do that is insane. Or even parasailing. Everything that like I want to do involves flying in the sky.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I love that. I don't know, maybe the freedom of flight or something. It's the,
Yeah.
the up in the air bit's good. It's the landing part that's the dodgy bit. It's always
Hmm.
that. There we
Yes.
go. What is your favorite drink? And it doesn't have to be alcoholic, by the way.
Okay. Well, there's several. I do like water. I do like coffee. I like martinis. And I like champagne. And I like red wine.
So
And here
every
I'm
drink in the
drinking
world
iced tea.
without the ice. Oh no, I
It
suppose it's
it
just cold, isn't
melted.
it?
It
Yeah.
melted. Yeah.
So now it's just tea. What is the best cartoon character, do you think?
Snow White.
Okay. Why did
That's
you
my
jump?
favorite movie
Ah, there you go. That's fair enough.
because that's the first feature-length animation and it was a masterpiece. First
Yeah.
one, and it's a masterpiece.
Never
You can't
remake
make
it
it
because you
better.
can't beat it. Yeah.
Well, somebody tried to, and it was a disaster. Yeah,
I know.
I wouldn't even watch it. I'm like, no,
No, I
it's
wouldn't either. I saw it on the
so I think
download, thought,
Snow
sod that.
White. Yeah,
No.
yeah. So to me, it's Snow White.
Quality. And the last one in the Koit zone. If you could live the life of one other person, alive or dead, who are you choosing?
Oh, Tommy Jefferson.
One of the founders. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Thomas
In
Jefferson.
fact, I was just at Monticello over the weekend. I'm fascinated with him. Absolutely fascinated. The dichotomy of he was brilliant and an innovator, all the things that he did. But at the same time, really invested in human equality and then had slaves. Some he released, but many he did not. And so I wonder what was that like in his mind. Another interesting thing about I call him Tommy Jefferson is that he was very tall, tall for his time, and he had red hair. And these are very interesting characteristics to me. Very unusual.
Why
And
so?
so to me suggests some kind of activation of some higher levels of DNA because there is proof that we've had giants on this earth and they had red hair.
The red haired giants. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
In North America. Yes.
Yes. I
Yeah.
wonder if he's a descendant of that.
Well done. You get points for mentioning that because I keep trying to bring that up with people and they always brush it off for some reason. Red haired
Which one?
giants. And you also get points. I didn't give you these earlier for saying the word nefarious. It's a word I love, so well done. You got some points for that.
Did
Right,
you
that is
ever
the.
watch did you ever watch Groucho Marx when you said the word, the duck would come down with the word? Did you ever watch him? His
No,
oh, you know Groucho Marx.
I do know. Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
moustache.
when I was little in the summertime, I got to stay up really late, and I would stay up late with my mom, and I would watch Groucho Marx and Benny Hill. My mom loved Benny Hill.
I'm
Do you know
sorry. And
Benny?
why did you mention Groucho Marx?
Because in his game show, if you said the secret word,
Oh, I
the
get you.
duck
And
would
then you
come
get points.
down, but with like a Groucho face on it, and it would say the word. Yeah.
Cool, cool. And I do
Mhm.
know Benny Hill. Yeah, it's
Which
big
is
time
so
over here.
improper, very improper, but back then it was kind of funny and
It was of the
bad.
times. It was,
Funny and bad at the same time. Yeah.
yeah, very funny. Thank you for that. That's the end of the Coit Zone. That leaves us our final two questions. First of which is, what else do you like to do in your downtime? Any activities or guilty pleasures?
Oh, yes. So I love to sail. I'm also a big knitter. I'm always knitting something or crocheting something. I do like to cook. Uh, I like to spend time with my friends, but I think the biggest things would be sailing and making things with my hands. I just need to make things with my hands, whether it's knitting or sewing or something, crocheting, whatever it is. I've learned
Is
all
that an
those.
excuse so that you can be occupied so that your mind can wander?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can sit down and as you knitting is very therapeutic
Mm.
on many levels. And my mind can wander. And often I come up with really good ideas, like um, what's my next video going to be on my YouTube channel? Or what am I going to write about next? I allow myself to go to a creative space in my mind because the number one thing for me is to create. If I don't create, I'm not happy. I'm here to create.
I am with you on that one. And I also love that space where you give yourself time just to think, what could I do next? Because I'm in exactly the same boat as you.
Yes.
But I don't knit. But you know, what is your current knitting project? What's on the sticks at the moment? What's on the
Well, I
needles?
like to do two or three. I like to work on two or three at the same time. So I'm right now I'm working on like a Fair Isle sweater, and I'm also working on a vest.
There you go. And they'll be completed very soon and for sale on Etsy.
You want to see it? Hold on, let me show you.
Yeah,
Let
go
me
for
show
it.
you this sweater.
Whoa, that's good.
Yeah.
That's high
So
end.
I have to put the arms on. Yeah.
That is quality.
Thank you.
How does how does that work, right? Because obviously that's an intricate pattern. You have to think about where every
Yeah.
stitch goes big time. That's
Yes. Yeah.
proper mentally taxing, I imagine.
Yeah. It's fun. I like that. I like tedious work. I used to work in an accounting firm, which is tedious work, and
Mm.
I enjoyed it.
Fair play to you. Fair play. Yeah, it looked amazing. Which leads to our final question. What are you currently working on? And I don't mean knitting. Is there a project or anything like that on the go for you?
Yeah.
Another
Well,
book, say.
I just started a new podcast. It's called UFO and ET 101, and I have 4 episodes. The first episode is called Time to Know, and I explain why I created UFO and ET 101 is because as I'm going around in the world talking to people, I've realized that most people do not even know the basics about UFOs and ETs. And since now we're having congressional hearings about it on TV, it's all over our news. It's very normal for it to be in our news, but the average American doesn't know the basics. So UFO and ET 101 is just the basics, the bare minimum basics. So you can have like a decent conversation about it because we can't keep our heads in the sand about this anymore. So the first one is Time to Know, which explains why I'm doing this. The second one is Sounds Like a Klingon Name, which is about my name because of this lady came up to me and she said, "Your name sounds like a Klingon name." The third one is UFO lingo, the letters A through D, because it's like a UFO glossary or a dictionary. And the fourth one is top 10 UFO military whistleblowers, numbers
Ah,
1, 2, and 3. And on that particular episode, it's David Grush, Jake Barber, and Lou Elizondo.
quality. I love that one.
And thank you. I also have an interview show, Alien Spirit with Sev, on my YouTube channel and on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network, where I interview all kinds of people, everything from experiencers to researchers to people who are in the realm of spirituality. I cover a lot of things, sacred geometry, ancient secrets of the world, all that kind of stuff.
All the good stuff. And so, anyone listening or watching to this, check out the links in the description to Sev's sites and her YouTube channels. They will be there, and obviously links to her books on Amazon, etc. Sev,
And
thank you. Oh, go
and
on,
the
sorry.
reading and the sessions that I give, the soul purpose sessions,
Yes.
and I give a third eye journey session and also an ET contact session.
There was loads of stuff we didn't cover today, such as all that stuff, especially the soul purpose readings, which I had loads of questions on. But maybe that's something for the future if we ever arrange another one, which I'd like. But I'll leave that in your court for
I would
after
love
this.
to.
Thank you ever so much. So yeah, Sev, thank you ever so much for coming on. I've enjoyed this conversation. Loads of wonderful information pieces, and I love
I
information.
enjoyed it very much too. You ask really good questions. Thank you.
Well, thanks
I
kindly. Thanks everyone watching, and we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
To watch other KoitCast episodes, please click the image top left. To subscribe to my channel, please click the image top right. Please like and share to help KoitCast grow, and most importantly of all, please click the notification bell so you never miss an upload.